thank you, mate, for coming on the show.
Yeah.
It's a real pleasure, a real honor, I would say. And sometimes I've been talking to some of these artists and talking about their music, obviously, and some of the memories I've had personally listening to their music. And I was listening to yours, and it's kind of like the soundtrack of my youth and life, right? But then I'm thinking, he's not even that old. So, I mean, what age was you at making these songs? Like 14, 15 or something, you know?
16. I was at college. My first album was called Dance Blitz. And it was a computer project kind of thing, more of a thing. And I chose Bhangra music because I was already doing that younger, like at home, mixing tape decks together and all sorts of rubbish. Did it on vinyl, get 2 tape decks together, pause, edit, cuts, and then ended up getting vinyl. And then when I was a bit of a computer geek, wasn't really going the music path. Mm-hmm. And then some great guy introduced me to music software on a computer. And that's where my life changed from there. I just went, I can make music on a computer. This is daft. So when he started showing me the software, what you could do, I was hooked. I even made my computer college exam based around my album. And I just posted the album in the post to Roma Music Bank. And they were quite shocked that I just posted it and didn't even come down and see them.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't drive. I didn't even pass my test yet. So they were telling me, could you grab a train? We'll pick you up from the train station. At least we can see you. So when they see me, they're like, you're just a little kid kind of vibe. So they make me sit down in the office, and I see all these big singers coming in at Pritpal's office. And I was just in awe because I was more of a fan at that time than a music guy. And they said they liked what I sent them, the demo, and make some more songs. So they gave me these massive 2-inch reels then. Take these back home with you, get into a studio, take the acapellas off them and do what you need to do. So my thing then, being from Manchester, was dance music.
Yeah.
And it had not been done. So I did a US garage track vibe. Garage music was massive in the US at that time. And I mixed it with a Sufri song, released it. And then about a year and a half later, I walked into a shop where music's playing. And there I'm going, hey, hold on a minute, where does this come from? And they passed me the cassette cover. I looked at it. And it's just got Dance Blitz mixed by Surinder from Manchester in the middle of it. And I'm going, okay, that's how it works. Great. And it did all right for that time. But it was obviously, no one was really, it was all original music, and it was all really Western music. It wasn't traditional Desi music. And I just took no notice of it, as it were. I just, that kind of on. I was more into, then I started DJing, doing better remixes and stuff. And then Movie Box approached me. This was obviously, I've started university now.
Yeah.
I'm at uni and doing coach parties and stuff like that around about 98, 99. And they've said to, Movie Box have come in on DJing at a venue, the church in Soho Road. It was called then. It was one of Kushti's events, Jack the 40 gigs.
Yeah, right, wow, yeah.
It was busy, man. It was busy. It was a great event. And Movie Box was there, and I played one of the remixes, and they suddenly came over and said, this is one of our vocals. You remixed it. I said, yeah, give me the card straight away. I said, come and see us.
Wow.
I thought, this is nice. You know what I mean? I was just young. I was at uni. So I went, okay, brilliant. So over a period of time, I was talking with them, and then eventually they said, right, commission me for a project to do this album. So I said, look, I'm going to put my kind of stamp on it. I don't want to do what the Bhangra kind of vibe that you've had before, mixed it with reggae and hip hop. Mine will be completely different. Yeah. So I'm going to mix it with house and garage, because I'm going to loads of house and garage events as a student, and all I can see is Asians in there, mixed Asians, blacks, whites, a lot of Asians. So if I tend to mix this with a Bhangra song, I think I'll pull some of that crowd who like garage music, because it's like a genre of its own. I mean, there's been mixes of past with reggae, drum and bass, with Bhangra music, but it's like drum and bass, for example. You've had the odd little mix on an album, but it's never like people's opening track or based album around drum and bass. It never took off like that. But with garage music, once we released the Lick album, Duppy, it just went crazy overnight. We started a kind of a movement in the north. I launched a couple of artists with the RDV, etc. And it came a big movement. And everybody, especially in the North Midlands there, everybody started making garage music. It became a genre of its own. And new artists came from that kind of scene that might not have appeared before, all the different types of MCs that might have had, maybe, they were very proud of their music and probably thought, we're never going to get an opportunity to MCing a Bhangra song or MC there, but now we've got an opportunity to do that. It might be our only talent just to MC, but at least in history, when they look back, they say, you know what, we put a record out. I was on that album, MC, album went around the world. So it's a little buzz for them as well. And it was a buzz also to bring artists like that, because it was basically Asian youth artists, like a new generation. The fathers and everybody who listened to Bhangra music, they were obviously into different types, more of the UK kind of style music, what's happening in the UK streets, as well as Punjabi music. And obviously I thought, right, well, the ideal thing is to combine them both. So you've got a bit of your culture, but you've also got the culture in the country that you live in. We don't have like goats and tractors chilling about in the streets, you get me? So there's no point thinking about that shit. So we've got Ford Escorts and corner shops and what's on the streets. So if you chat about that, the guy from here is going to relate to it. Just the way we might relate to something that's happening in Punjab when they start talking about that, we relate to it because it's inside us, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that was my kind of thinking at that age. And I thought, right, let me do a house and garage track. Did that track. I found an MC on there called, another artist called Metz. And I saw Metz at a garage rave. And he'd been doing garage rave strictly. That was it. He's just an Asian guy. And I thought, he encapsulates the generation that I'm trying to hit. He's an Asian guy, he knows his culture, but he's just doing garage music. He's not at Bhangra raves. But if he is, he's only doing a garage set. But really, he was known in the garage scene for doing garage music. So I approached him. I said, look, I'm going to be doing an Asian garage track. It's not done before. I'd like you to be the MC on it because you're an Asian guy. And it would make sense. And I think youth from our generation will go potty because they'll relate to you more than a singer. And he said, okay. And he was a bit confused about the whole thing. He was like wondering, what's this guy on? Kind of vibe. And when I picked him up from uni, went there, next minute, man's coming with a big glittery turban, which is still hard. And Metz has got his jaw down like, what's going on? What's going on? And he thought I was going to take him to a bedroom to do a quick mix. And when I've got into Planet Studios, and he's looking around, he's going, this is a studio. I go, where do you think we were going?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, yeah. So he's gone in there. And he's just warming up, done his thing. And I've just said, yeah, that's it, that's enough. And he's gone, I've not even started anything yet. I'm not even rapped. I said, yeah, you have. You've done plenty for what I need for this track. So nice one, sit down and let the other guy sing. And that was it. And then what happened was, it was virtually overnight. All the promoters that have been booking me to DJ now are ringing me up saying, your song's doing really well, you know. And I'm not getting feedback from anybody because I'm from Manchester. So my community and everything here is completely different from the Midlands, you know, with the Bhangra thing. It's completely different.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm not in connection with the Bhangra fraternity as it is.
Yeah.
Or that circle from the Midlands. So I'm only getting told what I'm getting here and being very naive and taking people's word for it. So maybe if I'd have managed that time, I could have took advantage of my success more, I suppose, of the success of that album and stayed on top of it and said, you know what, I need to release. A manager would have telling me, you know what, this album's killing it, get another one out quickly. But me, being from Manchester, I'm like, yeah, mate, great. I'll just take my time, wait for the next one, you know? And that's exactly what I did. And then about a couple of years later, well, I say I'm missing a gap. So that album then created like a massive movement. We had massive events all over the North, Midlands, load of artists now who were doing garage music. It was the thing. It was like a craze. And Bhangra music was still popping. A lot of people doing garage music. And it was great. And then I'm thinking, okay, this is good. This is really, really good. And then awards came up and stuff like that. I was getting awards from Movie Box, and the album was doing really well sales-wise. So I just thought, okay, that's brilliant. But I still didn't take no notice of it. It wasn't really, I didn't understand the impacts of it only till later years, like what the album did. Because my next focus was, right, I've got to bring another good song out now. What am I going to do now? How can I switch this up? I've done garage. I've done a lot of garage tracks that on albums, Bhangra bands that have asked me to do, like, could you do a song for us? So I've released them, and Touchwood, they were all big hits. On Ecstasy's album, Just Chilling 2, I did Duppe 2 on there. Mac G's album, Ambassador, produced that song. Various different types of songs I did, and they all did well. So I thought to myself, right, I'm a bit bored of that kind of style now, but I still need to, like, remind people that, you know, I created that kind of genre. I've created this sound. So what I'll do is I'll drop an EP and I'll try and link up with a mainstream garage producer, DJ. And that one wasn't heard of at that time either.
Yeah.
So I ended up linking up with Mike Roughcut Lloyd, and I don't know if you've heard of Mike Roughcut Lloyd, big London garage DJ, released a lot of records on Relentless and stuff. And I said, look, you fancy remixing? Bear with me, and we'll get a different singer. So he said, yeah. So I flew over to Toronto, Canada, recorded some songs there, came back, and sat with Mike in the studio, and we did this track. And I put it on the album, but I thought, right, I'm not going to start with this track because I started a garage track before, you know, on the first album. And I know, I'll bring Cheshire Cat back.
Yeah.
Where's Cheshire Cat? I've grown up listening to this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I loved it. I love that sound, what Bally bought. So I'm trying to source him. And the name forgets me, so forgive me, Uncle, if you're listening, but the lead singer, is it Geet the Mega Band? Is it Artema, I think?
Artema, yeah.
He was so helpful to me at the beginning, very, very helpful. Because I rang him, I said, I need your help. You just had Cheshire Cat on your album. I've noticed it.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of the album, but it says verses by Cheshire Cat. Not a lot of people had picked up on it. And I said, I need to get in touch with him. And what a nice man. He put me in touch with him. And he also told me, this is the roundabout, the figures that you need to pay, etc. So if you come through a middleman, they're just going to be taking the piss out of you. Right. Go directly with him. Here's his number. So I owed him a lot for that. He was responsible for that Gala Gala Munda track, as it were.
Yeah, wow.
So that's when I did the Gala Gala Munda song.
Yeah.
Lonely, Lonely Lover. I got Cheshire in the studio. I was sitting all watching this guy, man. I heard him as a kid. I thought, my gosh, I'm sat with him now.
Yeah, that voice.
Voice coming it was like royalty to me.
Yeah.
And because I was such a big fan, and I said, look, and he had been out the scene for a long time. And I said, look, I'm not like trying to stroke my own ego, big up myself, but when I do this song, I've noticed that a lot of people are going to want to use you to do a similar kind of song, because I've done this garage song and everyone's done it. Now I'm going to do like a dancehall bash vibe with you on it. And then I think you're going to get a lot of people ringing you back, realizing that you're back. So make sure you smash it with this song.
Yeah.
So he came to my house, and the ceiling's a bit small in the cellar. He's about 6'2".
All right, yeah.
He's there on the mic, doing everything for me.
Yeah.
And that EP did really, really well.
Yeah.
That EP blew up. The songs were on Punjabi Hit Squad's compilations for the Def Jam and stuff.
Yeah.
So the Kala Kala Munda, as you probably be aware, is a timeless song now. A lot of people always remind me of it. And that really did well. Then I've had to, that album's done really, really well. And I've just moved on from there, really. I've just tried to keep progressing. That, unfortunately, like in the middle of these albums, I've had like the worst luck. People passing away in the family. Mm-hmm. That's really affected me.
Yeah.
So it made me to have big gaps in my music. And it was unfortunate. Like, I did the Lick album. My uncle just passed before then. So I took some time out. Then 2-3 years later, I've dropped the EP with Gala Gala Munda on it. And then my grand's passed away. Mm. So it's like real crazy for me. And I'm thinking, like, what's going on? So I've just waited. And then 5 years later, I've released the Lick 2 with Shin DCS. And in between that time, I said, right, okay, I need to start working on material, getting a vibe together. And I was looking for artists, and I came across Roach Killer. He'd been working with Rishi Rich on a song.
Yeah.
And I heard it, and I thought it was two people rapping. And I was interested in the guy that was actually doing the reggae dancehall stuff. And then when I spoke to them, they told me, no, it's the same bloke. I thought, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's sick. So I got in contact with Roach, and we chatted for a while. And then he eventually made the big decision to leave Toronto, come to England to further his career. So he stayed in Manchester for a while, and we made the album together, which was The Revolution. Mm. Incidentally, it's one of the first it's one of the first Punjabi like rap albums. You know what I mean? And you know how big that is now in India, especially.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first. But what I found was at the time, because maybe Roach was from Toronto or something, it didn't get that much of a media. Like, this is something, a different type of album. This guy's rapping all the way through the songs. You've got hooks from Punjabi singers on there going all the way through, which you have now, basically.
Yeah.
And we did that in 2010.
Yeah. And
then after I released my album, I got Roach to feature on it, just to introduce him to the scene, as it were, again. Basically, we did that album, and the songs blew up from there.
Yeah.
There were big songs on there.
Yeah.
And obviously the artists as well involved all blew up.
There's a few there's a few pivotal points in your career, Surinder. You know, I think your location being in Manchester.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you know, it was maybe a hindrance as well, because you kind of really didn't realize how big your albums were becoming.
Exactly. And the labels and that, they don't want to tell you because you might ask for more dough.
Yeah, exactly. So you're kind of in your own little bubble there, making music. Think this sounds good. This is what I'm listening to. I might put it out there. You weren't quite aware of how, because the album, The Lick. I was speaking to DJ Harps, the music producer. And I mentioned that you're coming on this Friday, right? And he goes, he goes, I'm a massive fan. He goes, you've got to ask him, how did he feel being a pioneer of Bhangra music that changed the game? And I was thinking, yeah, because you did. You may not have realised it, but you changed the direction.
I didn't realise till after when the movement happened, the events happened, and the albums are coming out. I'm going, why has no one told me this has had a massive impact? Everyone's doing guys music. People want to MC now. People want to make urban music. And this is amazing. So I never used to push that point forward. Every time I used to do interviews, or I never used to come out, I'm the guy that Bhangra Garage kind of thing. Now I do, because I feel comfortable now enough to say it, because I've been in the game for a while. I can gladly say it and say, yo, I've created that sound.
Yeah.
But at that time, I felt like it might come across that I'm being very egotistic. Because I'm new, young, fresh. No, that's what I thought.
At the time,
I was trying to humble myself.
I get you, yeah.
And I thought, I'll just carry on making music, and all I need to do is make music. I don't need to advertise or promote myself. All I need to do is to let the music talk, and hopefully that will carry me through. And in some respects it has, but in some respects it hasn't, because I don't know what it is. I think our Asian media sometimes is a bit cynical, isn't it? You have to be out there like on a box and promoting yourself.
Yeah, on a soapbox, literally every day, going around.
Yeah. And if you don't, they think, oh right, but your music might be amazing, because you're not there on that soapbox doing what you need to do, kind of thing. You might get bypassed sometimes.
Yeah, which, I mean, they're choosing artists as through their social media clout rather than the sounds that they're making. You know, so someone's got a massive social media following or millions of views on YouTube. Don't get me down that road of views, all right? 'Cause I'll go down a rabbit hole. But that's kind of what they look at. And if the media believes the hype, then the public kind of fall in line as well, don't they? They think, oh,
yes, in my opinion, our media acts a bit different from, I would say, normal mainstream media. Normal mainstream media, when they get an artist in, they're not going to start talking about fake views. They're not going to start talking about what the industry is doing and how many views that, because, believe it or not, I watched a documentary called How to Make an Anthem on BBC4, and it was a mainstream documentary, how mainstream songs have made it into the UK charts, etc. And all the top players were there, the A&R executives. They tell you blatantly they used to go out and buy records. So they used to go out and buy records to create a perception for the song. Because once the perception was there, the radio would take it on, events would come in, and everything else would follow. So they were doing that from there. And that's just a fact. And what's happened is we have now technology where you do that online, basically, but you get found out a lot more. So what they do is they've tried to formalize it. I think YouTube and Google ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, and stuff like that, which are click farms. And basically, it's there to basically just promote your thingy, but they're going to click farms and stuff like that. So it's the individual's choice and how he wants people to perceive his song and what perception he wants to put out there. I opened up a label called Room 15 Production, shot a video on an iPhone, song called Ari Ari 2 years ago. Didn't care, because I said to myself, the song is the king. The TV companies weren't happy with me. It's just a shit video, basically. And I said, yeah, no, shot an iPhone, but someone else asked, but I said, the music is top A-class production without me stroking my ego. So, and I said, when people hear music, they don't watch visuals in a car, they listen to music, they repeat back a song. They don't start visualizing a video. Some might do, but really it's about the song. Songs are timeless, not the videos. That song's had 3 million streams.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest UK streaming songs since its release, late 2017. It's just keep going up and up and up. It's not stagnated like a lot of the old releases at that time from the UK guys. It's just carried on, continuing. It's over 3 million streams on YouTube organically. And it's over nearly 3 million streams on Spotify, which is really, really good. You know what I mean? For a song that's just not being promoted, no organic promotion, just left on my channel and let it do it. See how that went, and that went really, really well. Now it's been signed.
That's gone fantastically well, Surinder. It's not, really well. We've come into a world where 50 million is deemed the success, and anything under that's not so good. It's ridiculous numbers, right? Yeah. 6 million people have either watched or listened to that track, and you haven't brought views. You haven't,
No.
And it's organic, and it's built up like a word of mouth, and people enjoy it. Obviously, 6 million people that's a ridiculous number as well. So we should be appreciative of that. I talked to True School about this, and he goes, we got one video, it's got 30,000 views. He goes, 30,000 is a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Right, so
it's a lot of people, man.
He goes, that's
in UK, it's a lot of people. 30,000 people sitting in there listening to that. It's a lot of people.
He goes, you get 30,000 people in a stadium. That's a lot of people, right? So he goes, that's good. He goes, that's what we should start seeing as success rather than looking at these. We're going to get to a point where it's going to be 1 billion views is the aim, right? And it's ridiculous. It's,
It's just marketing, man. It's just hype marketing, in it. And they should realize that they never used to see it happen in the background before because it was physical sales. So they never used to see the crews going out to go and buy a load of CDs to get registered with Gallup and do all of that with the big UK record labels were doing. We as consumers didn't see that. But because everything's become online, a bit more transparent and access to everybody, you can have your own label now rather than going to you can put on your own video and have it displayed around the world without having paying a TV. So all these things, that access of getting it everywhere and then tools have become available online. So now people see that, and a lot of our media become very cynical to it. Like, they bought views, they have this, that, the other. And, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Because
some of the songs, they do have a point with the songs. Some of the songs are terrible, man. They're like 100 million views.
Yeah. I don't know where it's going to go with this, but, the fact, I love the fact that you made a video on your iPhone. That's for someone like you, an established music producer, you can understand if someone's new and they haven't got the equipment to go and make a video, but you made a decision there for,
because, sorry to interrupt you, I saw a kid from the mainstream from Manchester called, I don't know if you've heard of him, it's called Gecko. And we know his manager, we know him. And he told me himself, he goes, bro, I shot that video in my kitchen on an iPhone. The song has blown up. Sony have come and signed it.
Yeah.
Did it say to you made a video on your iPhone? It's rubbish, blah, blah, blah. Just with this song, Ari Ari, I've got Times Music from India that have signed a song and said, could we redo the song? We love the song. And can we re-release it in India? So I'm just doing a version specifically for that market with that song. They picked up on it, picked up on the streaming, and for where it was coming from, the UK, they said it's really, really good, and the way they want to sign this tune. So that's going there now soon.
Yeah, you're kind of like the young bedroom producer's dream, because as a young kid, you made an album as a college project, and Roma loved it so much they didn't realize you were so young because you posted it out to them, which in itself is quite funny. You posted.
Yeah, I know. I realize now how funny that is.
it being naive, you put it in an envelope and you thought, let's see.
Registered post. I thought, they can't black me. It's registered.
But even then, your music. It passed the test for them. They just thought, this is good music. Let's get this kid, right? And again with Movie Box as well. Saw you in a club and saying, look, your song's doing well. Here's a card. And that's the dream for music producers, to get that card and to say, look, give us a call. We want to
exactly. That.
So you kind of your music career is almost like a movie. How it's become, and the fact within all that. To then have albums like The Lick, which changed Bangladesh music, and from not even being from Birmingham, which is sometimes shocking. And then we started seeing, I remember, because I'm from the south, right? I'm from Gravesend in Kent near London, and all the clubs there, right? And I remember when The Lick was out, and I remember when RDB started coming along, and I remember Mets and Tricks, and you know, people from London were all singing, you know, Ipsy Dipsy La La Po, and you know, that became the word.
Yeah, I mean, I did a New Year's Eve party at the WAG Club in London. This was the first time after released the lick. And as soon as I went on, I just played like, you know, you used to come in and play 5 seconds a track and rewind it back. Yeah, I played 5 seconds. The crowd went nuts. I went, hey,
Yeah.
what's going on here? So when that came in, I put the fader down. I said, because I've been doing that with other people's songs such a long time. I thought, this is my song now. Let me see. Put the fader down and started singing it. Ipsy Dipsy. I just went, oh my God, it's an anthem.
It is. It was an anthem. It was an anthem. It was an anthem. It was also a sessioning song with my mates.
Oh, right. Okay.
standing in a circle, drinking, and it was just the song, right? And it was in the car. I think it's interesting that, you know, you never went out to make an anthem. You didn't go out to change Bhangra music. I think you just
had my kind of Manchester style on it. Like, you know, this is what I like. It's not like it's a fluke because I've already released an album before with dance music, and it's something that I like. And I think Asian people would like this, our generation. But let's see how it is. And then, yeah, and when I was getting the response back from everybody, I was like, oh no, this is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And forever Bhangra was changed at that point, you know, and even now, you know, there's elements, like you said, there's a lot of songs now. Rap's so big in India at the moment, and you know, you got full rap tracks with a hook of Punjabi in there, and like you said, you did that. I remember reading
the album Revolution we released with Roach. That was 2010.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, that's 10 years ago. And and do you think sometimes when your music comes out, you're maybe ahead of the game slightly, and then
most definitely just told that from the label. Oh, he's a bit too advanced. This, I said, what do you mean? They go, what's with the? Why have you got the rap at the start? Put the Punjabi verse first on the dub beat song. And I said, no. The whole point of this song is I want Mets to drop on the beat. I want people from that generation to go, oh, no, this is a garage song. This is a garage song.
Yeah.
And they were like, you sure? And I said, yeah. They said, it's a long intro to the actual Punjabi part. I said, that's the way it has to be. So it was little things like that I had to speak with them about. And they were cool with that. They kind of trusted me after that album a bit more, because then they realised, oh, well, he's right what he said. It's blown up. So when I was coming up with the next stuff and the next ideas I had, they were very, very happy with them.
Yeah. But for yourself as well, I think you've got to have a certain type of mentality as well. You was kind of you had conviction in your ideas. You know, it's quite easy being young, and when a record company, you know, a big record company as well, who had all the major artists. Let's be honest, right? And they said, you know, maybe try and change it, but you was like, no, this is my music and this is how I want it to come out, you know. And you had belief in yourself. That takes a certain character, Surinder. I think, you know, I think you're very quietly confident person, you know. I don't think
good way to put it. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah,
I would say that without trying to. Yeah, I would say that. I'm just looking. Sorry, you just caught my attention. PDM. I used to love that album.
Yeah. That was back in the day. That's my sort of foray into Bhangra.
Oh, was you in PDM?
That was me with the stupid long hair with my hand up. I don't know if I can.
Wow. That's mad. That did you release an album before that as well with Multitone?
With Multitone, originally with Multitone, yeah, and then Multitone went, didn't they? They sort of disappeared, didn't they? And then we went to Kiss.
I rang you once from my college, man. I wanted to remix one of your songs. PDM, I remember, man. Now, wow.
Yeah. So and I remember because one of the I said this to someone else the other day. One of our last live gigs was at Hammersmith Palais in London.
Okay.
And I remember after we stopped playing, the next artists on stage were RDB.
Yeah.
And they had just come on the scene, and we was like, we've got DJs coming on after us now. You know, we kind of felt that vibe of DJs are coming to take over the world. Surinder, what did you do to us, right? And we thought, what's, you know, they're never going to make it, are they? You need a band of 50 people, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think music, it was just changing then. A new generation was coming in, and it was like DJ acts, PAs, all that started happening. And the band scene kind of slowly fizzled out. But that's what also happened, I think, in the mainstream as well. You know,
yeah.
So only like Oasis and all these bands, obviously, they were still there killing it. But then eventually, electronic music kind of came to the forefront, and live music was left to arenas and classic big events where you get the big bands, the classic bands coming down to perform.
Yeah,
that was just a generation change, innit?
I think so. And then we started getting the advent of superstar DJs. They became the rock stars, didn't they, of the generation?
You mean the wedding DJs, the wedding season, the wedding thing?
No, I'll talk more about Western, English DJs,
Sorry, yeah, without a doubt.
Like Fatboy Slim and people like that became rocks. They were
Great.
rocks. Yeah,
they're doing bigger arenas and stuff like that, and they were the in thing at that time. It was all about that. It was all about that. Nobody was, like I'm saying, the new generation just wanted somebody different, the way really into the bands and stuff. And that applied to, I think a lot of the bands forgot this, didn't realise, look, we're making band music for our generation, but it's nearly year 2000 now. So our generation of people have got older, got jobs, have got problems, got bills. Who are we going to appeal to now? Like, we need to appeal. So I think where they, if it's the right thing to say, should have took more note and said, let's get young producers in to produce our music and release our songs. I mean, don't forget, Dilwar was with Excellency, and they just released their album. It was all Bhangra based, and I just did a house and garage track, and it blew up with him. Yeah. So I'm thinking, look, some of the bands took on some of the younger producers at that time, towards that era, and said, okay, let's just get Bali Saghu or let's get Punjab BMC to do this whole album for us. See the music that he puts behind it and see if it will appeal to the new generation that we want to attract to continue making music. But they didn't do that. Yeah.
See, I've talked to Tubbsy. I don't know if you know Tubbsy.
Tubbsy played on my Kala Kala Munda song. Wicked guy.
Of course he has. He's played on bloody everything. And right? Yeah. And I remember saying to him, DJ, I talked to him about live bands, and I said, DJs come along and they kind of killed the industry. He goes, no. He goes, they kept the industry alive. He goes, the bands, he goes, you've seen it wrong, Sat. He goes, the bands started stagnating almost, and singers started becoming their egos became too big and they started charging so much money. Yeah. And
I had that problem trying to get them to sing on my album, bro. You know how many singers turned me down? I had loads of singers that turned me down to perform my album, like, where are you from, Manchester? Oh, but we've not got time, this, that, the other. And I used to think, wow. Yeah. Then thankfully, Dilwar, nice man, he invited me to his house. Went to his house, sat there with the Kushti, and he drove me down there, and he sat down and he said, I've got some songs for you. And I thought, what a nice guy, he's coming down. He's like to the point, not messing about, had a cup of tea, went through different songs, told him how I wanted the song to be. And he had a song already written, which was the Galmukhi song. And he said, what do you think of this one? And I just heard it in my head, tried to put a beat behind it. I went, yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Let me use that song. And it was brilliant. And if you notice, the rest on the album, the only the UK singer was on there who was really good for me as well, was After Maniac. Yeah. Wow. He did the opening track, Jag Hasia. The rest were all vocals given to me from the label. Yeah. I didn't actually approach the singers in any way to say, could you please come and sing the song for me? Yeah. It was only 2 songs for it, which was After Maniac and Dilwar. I'm so happy that they took that choice.
They did it, and absolutely, and kudos to them, because, and if you think about the way when you said I'm from Manchester, again, that was that mentality of being in that Midlands bubbles, for example, right? Yeah. We don't want to venture out north because this is where music is, and I think they can't.
And plus, I was someone who's young to them, and I'm saying, look, I want to make your song. And they're thinking, like, what are you going on about? They're probably used to old hippie engineers, producers being in the studio when they used to record. And if you see kids in there, so when the kids come to them and say, let me make your song, probably say, you haven't got the minerals to do it, kind of thing. Yeah. And I used to just think, right, all right, mate, whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. And then obviously when Dilwar's song blew up, they had red faces in it.
That could have been them. Yeah.
Yeah, because he was a band still. He was still in a band. So his band, the amount of bookings they got off that song, they started killing it. Yeah. Singing Galmukhi live. So obviously they were thinking, wow. And then obviously some of them tried to do some modern songs. And obviously,
but it didn't have you, did they? That's a big problem. Well, no, they had a chance. They had a chance, and that's the way life goes sometimes. But you seem to have this knack of picking the right artist, or even finding the artist. Like Gary Sandhu as well, and which we haven't mentioned, and and
this came after 2010, after Roach. Yeah. What happened was, again, I had a very bad, terrible death in my family. My father passed away very young. He was only 57 at that time. And I said, oh no, what am I going to do now? Kind of thing. My world was gone. And then I said, I need to find something new again, like to keep my mind off this, otherwise I'm going to fall into some deep depression rubbish. And
So
looking up at the blues,
was that a conscious decision for you? Because that's quite an interesting point. Because I remember my father died; he was 55 as well, so similar age. And but you decided to push that grief towards something positive, and you thought, I'm going to do some music to keep my mind off.
This is what I thought I was doing. You see, so and then obviously later around 215 to 218, 19, I actually went into depression a lot more. But what I was doing, I suppose, at that time was I wasn't probably confronting it as I should have. So what I was doing was changing my scope. I said, right, I'm going to go around the world, get my mind off this, and I'll start to feel better. So the first thing I wanted to do was I was trying to find artists, and God must have been listed to me. The next day I get a phone call, said there's a guy called Gary Sandu, and he's asked me to get in touch with you. He wants to work with you as a video director. And I said, okay, where do I come? They said, come to Birmingham to come and meet the geezer. So I'd never heard of him before. And I went there, met Gary. And instantly, as soon as I saw Gary, I thought, this guy will be a star. I could tell straight away. His appearance, the way he was. But he didn't know that yet. And nobody in Birmingham was going to tell him that, because I found this out afterwards. And I was there. And the song, he'd already released it, believe it or not, Dill, Dill, Dill. It was already released, and then they took it off. They weren't happy in terms of its success, what it was doing. So they said, rather than have it keep playing on channels, etc., we just take it back. And then he was with me there, and he sang the song to me. And I said, he went through a few songs, then he sang that song. I said, that's a hit song, that. And then Gary and his manager looked at each other, because I didn't realize they'd already dropped it, released it already, you see. And I said, that's a hit song, I'll do the song. But what I think you need, Gary, to be an artist is you need a rapper with you to give you that young swag, attracting young everybody here. I started doing the A&R automatically with him in the first meeting. I said, you have to change your dress appearance. You have to look like this. You got to wear these kind of clothes. Put a pair of shades on. Don't show. Let nobody get in yet. Let them trying to find out who you are as an artist. I was trying to put all this kind of. But obviously, he's a desi guy. So probably thought I was chatting shit.
Yeah.
So I was saying to him, you got to look like this because the audience was going to look at you, etc., etc. And he was like, okay. And they actually did that. It all went to plan with Dill Dill Dill. That's why he's got the shades and the things on and stuff like that. And I said, it'll really, really help with your profile as an artist. And when we dropped Dill Dill Dill, it blew up. It blew up for Gary overnight, basically. He was booked everywhere in Midlands. He was going crazy. Girls were loving him. He was a young guy. He was like, major crush for everybody. Everybody was happy.
Yeah.
They were happy. And I thought, okay, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. And he was a guy from the Midlands. And then I found out he'd been going around to loads of places in the Midlands and nobody was giving him a chance, really. So I was quite happy. I thought, brilliant. I love them projects where no one gives the guy a chance and I can maybe do something with the guy. Next minute he blows up. So I was over the moon with that, just for myself. And I said, okay, brilliant. This is amazing. So that was riding. And then I decided that I'm going to bring my own single out now. But how? It's been a while since my album, what I'd released. And this is in 2011, 12, sorry. And I thought, right, what do I do? I want to bring out something good. My old man's passed away and I want to bring out my own release and I want it to be successful. So what should I do? And should I do a dancehall vibe? Should I do this? And then I was watching a program, MTV or something. Next minute, Swedish House Mafia come on. The big calls, like that. I just went, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Because I was a dance head anyway as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I said, right, that sounds amazing. I'm going to do that. So he goes to me, okay, wicked. He goes to me, I'm talking riddles now. I'm talking to myself like a schizo. So I go, right, okay, I'm going to do this and let me start working on it. So I got Jugga Singh to come down and I had a song of Jugga's already, actually Hassas, already on the computer. And it was at that tempo, around about 120, 125 or something. I said, right, let me just put this up a bit. As soon as I put the 4x4 beat on it, I went, yeah, this is the one. Did that. That Hassas was like again, it kind of established itself as a big dance song, one of the first. I don't think there was any big house track at Bhangra Music at that time, released in 2012. There wasn't one at all, because I remember Nahal ringing me up from Radio 1, saying to me, this is the only type of track in the world, Surinder, that's like this. So well done, because there is no kind of house, big Euro dance track with Punjabi lyric on it. And I said, okay, hopefully we shall do well. Touch wood, became an anthem. It did really, really well.
Yeah, done really well.
And I was absolutely over the moon with it, because I thought, right, brilliant. You did really well. And I should have got an award for it. I'm not going to be bitter, but I was actually given an award for it, believe it or not. This will make you laugh. Yeah, I won't tell you who from, they decided on the day not to give me the award, because the other person who was a bit got gruntled because he had released a song, said, I'm going to bring X and X person with me to this particular event, and if I don't get the award, they're not coming. So the people at that time thought we can either have him with Celebrity 1, Celebrity 2, Celebrity 3, or we could have Mr. Singh from Mani, who doesn't know no one. Who should we go for to make our event more appealing? So obviously they went for the other Celebrity 1, 2 and 3, and the producer, guess what happened? He turns up without Celebrity 1, 2 and 3. Still gets... I found out 2 days later, they do some... If I tell you what they actually did, it'll give the game away who it is. But what they did 2-3 days later, they put out, I'll say, a print, yeah, with me at #1 position. And I thought, well, in previous years, anyone at that position obviously gets the award with it.
Yeah.
And then I realised it had been this is how I found out everything. It had actually been pre-done already before the awards, because they already made their mind up who to give them the award to, which was myself.
Yeah, pre-printed.
Something had changed on the day, which I thought, well, only in the Midlands, because it wasn't the first time it happened with the lick. I said, only in the Midlands this would happen.
Yeah.
And I was a bit cheesed off with that, to be fair.
Yeah,
Because I thought, wow, do you know what I mean? I thought, okay, sweet, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Left it, and then I thought, right, I'm going abroad. So I went to Toronto for a bit, came back, met someone there, and that lad then came back and came to Roaches. And one day I went to Roaches, and I was chilling at Roaches, and then this guy comes down the stairs. I go, what are you doing here? He goes, I've come here to chill, blah, blah, blah. I said, come on then. Took him out for a bit in Midlands, because he looked after me when I was in Toronto. And that guy was Deep Jundu.
Yeah.
And Deep goes to me, I said, look, Deep, let me launch you here, man. You're not released anything proper yet. Let's do a big urban album, and let me see if I can put you out here. And he was like, yeah, 100%. I go, what? I was just saying it, and he was like, 100%. So he goes, right, I'm coming back with you to Manchester. Next minute, Deep's staying with me in my house. And he was in Manchester for about 5 years, 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And we were going around the world, back to Toronto, back to India, doing the videos and putting the album together.
He stayed in your house for 5 years, or did he move out at some point?
Sorry?
Did he stay in your house?
No.
Yeah.
He stayed in Manchester for about 4 to 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
He was in my house maybe for about a year or something, then got his own flat.
Right, wow. Yeah.
And then he was even working here, bro, in the local shop.
Wow.
Basically to make ends meet and doing his music. He was really properly focused. Yeah. He's one of the most humblest guys you'll ever meet in your life, bro. He's super. You should do a podcast and he's super down to earth, bro. Yeah. And he was here, very respectful guy. And he was saying, Surinder, and he was teaching me loads of stuff about India, because obviously being from Canada, they're like that with India, isn't it?
Yeah.
And being from Mani, I only know about Blackpool, Preston, or anywhere like that. You know what I mean? I don't know about Punjab that well. So he's telling me about how it is there and how people are. And I'm naive. I'm thinking, how come like that? If I see Mr. Singh here in England, in Manchester, we'll let on to each other go, yo, you're safe. Yeah. Even when we're walking past, I don't know the guy. He goes, listen, that's not happening in India. It's just not happening. They'll just stare at you and think you're an idiot. I'm like, flipping, it's how bad it is. Yeah. So my eyes were like woken up from deep in regards to how the run-ins are in India and how people are there. But, it was a big privilege to work on his album, his first debut album, Punjabi debut album here. And I was buzzing with that, because obviously he blew up when he released the album. Deep blew up, and then Deep started doing. He was already producing, making music, and that just elevated it for him. Yeah, and the rest is history. Deep's doing that. I mean,
brilliant. You can get producers and music producers, even film directors, and or people that can find a certain person and make them into a star, and it can sometimes be a one-off. You know, sometimes the world's, you know, but yourself, you've done it quite a few times now. You know, and there's a point where you may not think, but I can see it from afar that, you know, obviously there's some kind of talent within yourself, not just producing the music, but picking the right person and seeing, I mean, that story about you just told about Gary Sandu, and maybe put some sunglasses on and you know,
looking
like
at doing the A&R. I wanted to do I like doing a bit of the A&R, because I think you can release your music, but if you're just going to come on looking like a tramp or not looking really attractive to people, because in this age, visuals are selling to help the music sell.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was on that kind of bandwagon.
Yeah.
So I said, it's different for a producer, but for you want to be on stage, you want to be the showman. So you're going to have to act like a showman and be like, not be a guy, I'm a guy from Birmingham with a leather jacket on with a few beads around my neck, and I'm just going to sing a song and be very blasé about it. Because then you'll have I thought you're going to get a blasé attitude with it. If you come on like to show, I'm some kind of artist, I've got some kind of outfit, and, you know, appear as an artist, then people are you're going to get more of a wider fan base, and they're going to be more attracted to you more. They're going to think you're the real deal. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I think when Gary Sandu did come on the scene, that was one of the critical things for me as well, because he obviously had a Desi voice, you know, and he had that Punjabi, Punjabi voice, and he could sing, which was great. He looked good. He's a handsome guy, right?
Yeah.
And but his style as well, he was a bit hip, and that, and I think you're absolutely right, because people thought, you know, this guy's a bit different. He's not the fresh guy from India, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. And that's how we see him. Gary Sandu was this hip, young Punjabi guy. When really at the time, I remember in India, you remember India used to have great songs, right? But sometimes when they used to dress, they used to look a bit cheesy, right? They used to try and overdo the hip hop style, maybe. And, they didn't look so quite natural at it. And that's a fantastic story, because I don't think many people know. And you are a very understated guy, not with your music. Your music's quite, you know, in your face, and it's different, and, you know, but yourself, you know, and you come across as quite very humble. You don't really, you're telling me your life story, but you're kind of holding it back, thinking, you know, I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. Yeah, I changed the Bhangra scene in that year, and then I introduced RDB in that year. But really, Surinder, you know, that's one of the reasons I do this show, because I think, you know, you're right up there with all the music producers. Your name's right up there, you know. And when I told a few people, I go, so what's Surinder Rattan on? Especially the music people. I told PDM boys, they're like, oh wow, you know, they were excited as well, because, you know, these, you know, and these songs are within us, man. We love your songs, right? And but so for yourself as well, I know it's difficult when you do interviews. You don't want to come across as a massive ego, saying, yeah, I did this, I changed the industry, and I you know, I discovered Gary Sandu, and I did this and I did that. But that's why these conversations I have is just to sort of hear your side of things. And I think people are clever enough at home watching and listening to realize, oh wow, Surinder Rattan is the real deal, you know. And you'll always be part of the Bhangra industry, you know. Do you ever think that, you know, long when we're old men and we've retired and we're sitting in on a bench in a park talking to each other, you know, your name's going to be there without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, thank you very much, bro. Thank you. But that's what I've just tried to do. I've tried to make the songs to think, okay, people are just going to listen to the songs. Say, oh, Surinder did that. And I want them to be like emotional, timeless songs for people that people always attach a memory to, just like I did with the songs that I've grown up with. Like B21 album, for example, you know, Public Demand. I love that album to death. I must have played it, but I've ruined the cassette the amount of times I used to play that tape. And, you know, I was a big fan. I was also a fan of music. And that's what made me get into producing, because I was more of a fan. So getting to work with them, I was always humbled when I spoke to the artist. The guys in the Midlands see them every day, you see. So when they saw them, they was like, yeah, you're safe, get in the studio and record it. I was like, you okay, can I get you water? Can I get you fruit? Please come in. So they could see my approach to them was completely different because I was not from that circle, as it were. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, and that's the way it was there.
that probably helped you, I think, your location. I mean, originally you probably started off in Manchester thinking, I'm kind of out of the way here. Geographically, I'm out of the loop in Birmingham, right? And maybe you thought it's going to be hard for me. But actually, I think it's worked for your benefit because you didn't get caught up in the sort of the politics or the sort of vibe going around in Birmingham. You could have ended up being another producer in Birmingham. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't want that, bro. Didn't want that. That's why I just started to do like diversify a bit. We did. I forgot to mention to you a song called OMG. I'm not sure if you've heard of that song. It's with a big Gawal singer called Javed Bashir from Pakistan. And when we did that song, somebody heard that and they said, you know what, you can try give it to the mainstream avenues if you want. Because what I did was, as I made Hassas, I made this song at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I released Hassas first, and I kept OMG back because we all decided that would go through the mainstream avenues. So we gave, and that was a big house track again, with a kind of Kawali on it, not been kind of heard before. And we gave that to Music Week, released it, and it went number 1 in the Music Week charts. I don't know if you've heard of Music Weeks, like the industry editorial kind of thing.
Right. Okay.
It's like a mainstream editorial.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the whole mainstream in the UK. The publication's called Music Week, and they have like their own club charts and their own charts where you send them the music and they do the promotion for you within the club DJs and then give you reports back of what the responses are.
Yeah.
It was going up the charts every week until he got to number 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I was buzzing. And that happened there. So I thought that's good because I wanted my music to be in all areas, in different arenas, because just music. So I thought if I can bring some Punjabi music vibe to more of the Western listeners, then it's a good thing. You know what I mean? And and that worked. So I was over the moon with that.
I you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you see yourself as a music producer. You're not a Bhangra music producer. I think you're just a
music producer that has a lot of Bhangra influence always, I suppose, if I'm hitting the Punjabi market. But just generally all around as a music producer.
Yeah.
I like making. At the moment, I'm just doing some neo soul jazz with a singer, and that's strictly that kind of music. It's going to a label who only puts out that kind of music. So I'm constantly just doing that at the moment.
Yeah. So that's currently what you're working on at the moment. Have you discovered any more superstars in?
Well, she's a new artist. Yeah, she's a new artist. But in terms of the Asian side, there's a couple of their new ones down that we're just currently working with. Kind of a folk style singers, but the music obviously I'm doing is all urban based. Yeah. It's funny now because all the music now is all urban based.
Yeah.
I mean, India's only just got into hip hop now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they've made it commercial mainstream, where before it was very much underground.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got bored of hip hop. We had our own scene that took over grime and UK hip hop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Traditional American hip hop, Westwood and Radio 1, all that vibe is all gone kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we've changed as well. But now they've just got into hip hop. So they're still doing the 90s breaks in India and early 2000 kind of drum beats and the old Dr. Dre piano stabs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I'm hearing it going, wow, if I would have dropped something like that here, I would have said, this is shit, Surinder, this sounds like you're trying to be Dr. Dre and this sounds old.
Yeah.
But now it's accepted and everybody's like, it's weird. Everyone's like gone into a 90s phase in some respects because of India dropping 90s kind of like drum beats and stuff like that. A lot of them are doing trap now as well, you know.
Yeah.
So
So, do you think the industry in the UK is changing in that sense, where we're now looking at external influences like from India, Canada, and then
and they shouldn't be doing that because we've got like general producers here who can make their sound and have that transcending outwards, where people from India go, okay, we're going to jump onto that kind of sound like it was before. They did it with the songs. The type of songs that we used to sing here, you can see they're all in Indian films now, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think what we do is we're in England. I think what we try to do is, because the media here as well, they don't, from my opinion, they focus a lot on Canadian and Indian producers and basically say the scene here is dead.
Uh-huh.
And you seem to hear that narrative quite a bit. And to myself, I just think the scene's not dead because these guys are doing well here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No,
and
exactly.
you guys are constantly promoting them to an audience here. So if the scene was dead here, why are you promoting them? Because obviously the scene's not dead because we still have an audience that still wants to buy good music.
Absolutely.
And if they're the only places that are buying good, selling good music and making good music, inevitably we're going to latch onto that and say, yeah, I listen to that song, I listen to that song, because what are you guys giving me here from the UK? What are we giving them?
Yeah.
All the new generation singers, all the new generation people are coming from India, like they always have done, and coming from Canada, etc. And only a few singers from here are starting to show promise. You know, I think Raf Spear is a good folk singer. It's a new lad who's making waves. There's quite a few others. Jet Kara, there's a few others. And they're making... But what happens is, what I've noticed is people just think, yeah, use a small time, because use are from England. These are the big boys around here.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I think the media kind of gives that it doesn't give them priority, because you're from the UK, man. Support your UK people first, and then have your international music playing. But music is now global, you know, like the world is. We're all global. I suppose that has a big part to play in it as well, because now you can just speak to people from Canada, just like we're doing. Now you can chat to someone in India, just like we're doing, and you can even record the guy from India, just like we're doing. Have him in the studio, watch him on Zoom, recording.
Yeah.
And in the past, it was a bit of more of a different kind of vibe. It was like, India, I have to go to India to go and record someone, and I have to go here to go to someone. So everybody used to be in their own bubble here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now everything's changed, it's all gone more global. Everybody's making music with everybody.
Yeah.
So that's affected our, when I say that's coming to our music scene as well. So it's not, you can work with a guy from India and release it here, you can work with a guy from there. It's just you're just from now, as it were, releasing music. It's not necessarily, only a few people say, now we're a UK label and we're dropping UK artists. True School, check one.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? We're dropping. Yeah. That is wicked.
That's his,
because that's our scene.
That's his mantra. He goes, we're UK born, you know, they've got their Union Jack flag, Punjabi
100%.
folk singers. And these singers are amazing. You know, like you said, you know, we try and look at India singers and think, but these young lads are like, you know, like Raf's from London. Yeah. He's probably got an accent like mine, but he pulls out these folk vocals and you're just like, wow, what the hell? Wow. Is this? Wow, you know, and, you know, Prince is another guy.
They should be given a platform.
Yeah.
When we do award shows or when we do these kind of shows, so they're having the international acts come in there because you want to get the crowds in. You might think, okay, if I put XX person on, I'm not going to pull the crowd. That's because you have not promoted that XX person in the past.
Yeah.
You're not giving that platform where he's dropping his music and he's up there, he's getting the same rotation play as the others. You've not done that because you've took a cynical view of it. Or you're from Birmingham, yeah, give us this much money, we'll play your song. Does well, it does well. And then when he blows up, you're going to be up his ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gary no one gave two monkeys about. Sue's Dilly Dill. Yeah, next minute, he was banned on the radio for some other reasons. He's not banned anymore. He's blowing up.
Yeah.
You know, his music's blowing up. Everything's blowing up. He's killing it. And people all of a sudden, oh, it's Gary. Everyone wants to be his mate.
Yeah.
When no one gave two shits before. And then, you know, all of a sudden his mates came in and gave him wrong advice. And my man's back home. Now he's back, thank God.
Yeah. I mean, that's a cynical part of the industry. And
they're all like that, bro. Right. I found. They're very, very cynical, bro. I found personally. Maybe it's towards me, so maybe I can't speak on other people's experiences. But with the labels, it's fine. The labels are generally fine. But it's like some parts of the media, some parts, not all, some parts, absolutely top. But some parts, what happens is, see, I always look at them in a mad way. It might be wrong way to look at things. But I always think, why is the group of people just suddenly like... Then I just think to myself, hold on a minute. It's because the first generation... maybe, and maybe there's just got some mad ego vibes like people from immigrants have, basically, when they get position of power.
Yeah.
You know, being Asian, you know what they're like, you know, it goes to the head sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what I found. And then sometimes when they was having conversations with me, they thought I was like, the way my perception and attitude was, they probably thought, is this guy some kind of coke? You know, my dad was born in Manchester. You know what I mean? My great-granddad came in 1938, bro. Here's during the war.
Yeah.
So we were proper ingrained, like, in British society for a long, long, long time. So my upbringing and everything has always been around a Western mentality kind of point of view.
Yeah, and even Manchester's got its own cultural vibe compared to, say, Birmingham. So not just a Punjabi sort of
mixed Manchester. Everybody's a melting pot.
Exactly. So, and it's musically, you know, like you said, house music was so big in Manchester. The club scene,
the Hacienda nightclub.
Yeah, it was massive. You know, it's world renowned.
Yeah, exactly, world renowned.
So I mean, look.
So from there, when I was there, I'm hearing mates who are doing like, you know, making dance music and 808 State, all these great Manchester acts, and it was all dance music based in it. I thought, yeah, let me do that as well, because I didn't have guys who listened to Kuldeep Manik next to me or Surinder Rattan. Honestly, I swear to God, I only got them as a teenager. Right. My dad never used to do that. My dad was listening to Status Quo, these English bands, rock bands, yeah. And then at night time, he'd put, in the car, he'd have Ruffy and the Thorn, no one else. And even at our parties, he'd sing Ruffy songs, Dud Punjabi songs. I'd never really heard A.S. Khan before. I didn't even know he was from England until I got his tape. I looked at his photos. Who's that guy from? Is he from England? I didn't know he was from Birmingham. I didn't know Surinder Rattan was. I used to point at the camera, who's this guy seen in a Punjabi film?
Yeah.
And then my cousins, they were proper into the Indian artists like Surdul Sikandar and Hans. So when I started just to get into, some guy came around, give me a Punjabi cassette, and he goes, check these guys out, Alab. So I went into my mum and said, who are these? She goes, it's a Punjabi cassette, where you got that from? Because even they were shocked, all my music was English. And I go, they're any good? She goes, yeah, listen to it. I thought, oh, these songs are good. I've heard these at weddings.
Yeah.
I started getting into it like that.
Yeah.
And that's when I started coming across it. I'm going to my cousins now and say, check this guy out. Jenny saying a lot, he's killing it. And they'd swear at me, man. They'd look at me and go, why are you listening to... Their interpretation was, that was rubbish. You should be listening to Hans or Surdul.
Right.
Yeah. And these guys, because they were more into that music. And they were kept telling me, the UK bands are okay, but they're not the greatest singers. Listen to these guys if you want to know some knowledge. And I used to purposely wind them up. I'd come in and say, singer from Sean or group or whatever.
Yeah.
Come in and go, and they'd have Hans on.
Yeah.
I'd come in and go, this guy's just pissed on him, hasn't he? Yeah. Sean group, yeah. And Hans would be there doing his bit. And I would have no idea. I go, but that sounds better to me because I can hear the bass, I can hear drums. It's more appealing. All I can hear with him is a harmonium and a dorky and a tabla, whatever. Yeah. It's not really my cup of tea, lads.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is sounding funky. You know what I mean? Wham Bam, listen to this. Balisagu.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Surdul Sikandar? What's that about?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, now it's a completely different ball game because in later life, I went into classical music, got some, my stars are from Pakistan, the Javed Bashir and some other guys there. And they've been teaching me from there, and I got into classical music really heavily and realised who the singers are, what's what, etc. In terms of compositions, rags, and stuff like that. Just as to help me with my English music, and also as just a passion because I was into it. And I thought I'll do music anyway, so I might try as well. Find out some of the basic fundamentals, because I know I'm going to spend the next 30 years wearing a kurta pajama and say I've changed and you know, there's me in the harmonium, I don't do this anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be doing that. And you make like music for young generation always. So I just wanted to know it because it was very advanced and it helps you with it making mainstream English music, but for me it does anyway.
Yeah.
So that was just a passion of mine. And then I realised now, my cousins used to tell me when they were younger, like why they used to always swear at me when I used to say this band is better than Hans Rajans and stuff like that. Because I was naive. I did it first time I'm hearing Punjabi folk music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've been watching Indian Bollywood films as a kid with my grand for years. And I just knew Hindi songs.
Yeah.
Because obviously they'd been in England for such a long, long time. So something for them to link back to India was Bollywood, I suppose. That was the more commercial sound during probably 50s, 60s and 70s for my parents.
That's quite interesting. That's quite interesting, Surinder, because obviously then your parents weren't blasting out the Marnik tunes like my dad was.
My mum was born in Glasgow. My dad's from Manchester. When they came back, it was English music I was listening to most of the time. Yeah,
so that influence on your music is probably apparent because you weren't...
100%. Yeah, 100%. I had the EP Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta,
makes sense.
You know, all this kind of music. The Bee Gees were from Manchester. Dad was a big fan from them. You know, stuff like that. And that's what we were always listening to.
Because if you had the sort of typical upbringing like I had with the Marnoks and sort of Dawes and Hans Raji, when you decided to get into music, maybe that would have been your first avenue. I'm going to make Bhangra songs, right? That's kind of what I'm listening to, and that's what I mean. But because you didn't really have that, you was kind of looking at something else, like dance music. I don't really listen to that, so I'll make, this is what I like, this is what I want to make. Yeah. And then you put that element together, because so sometimes, so you know, when you look back at life, sometimes you think, you know, certain decisions, even from your parents, then the knock-on effects that happen to you.
Oh, big time. You know, big time. Yeah. Dad used to always, you know, put on English music and did the shadow guitar in the room when he's had a few drinks, whatever. We used to laugh our heads off. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously, it's ingrained in your head. The music starts becoming ingrained in your head, and then he was always buying a few English singles, stuff like that. Barry Grant, you know, all these kind of Electric Avenue, all the vibe. My dad used to be listening to all the time. So Eddie Grant, I should say, Barry Grant, Eddie Grant. And then, we were listening to all that kind of stuff all the time. And it was only when I started bringing cassettes home. It was only, my dad never used to buy the tapes. Only used to get an LARP cassette, whatever, when that used to come out. Because he actually liked to LARP.
Yeah.
He liked the way the songs were sung. I think it was a Bollywood style of singing. Or whatever,
that's right, yeah.
So he was more, he likes them kind of like ballads, as it were.
Yeah.
Because it had some meaning to them. And some of the bands he wasn't fond of, and some of the bands he were. And then, but he always stuck to his Ruffy and stuff like that. We got in my house, we have a big picture over the mantelpiece of Mohammed Ruffy song.
Wow, yeah.
Because it's like my dad's ultimate, and my uncles and everybody else, they only sang his songs. And then he say to me, "Have you heard of Surinder Rattan?" Because they were themselves born in Punjab, they were born in Manchester, so obviously no one was coming up to them with any. They'd been in Manchester as well. No one was coming to them with Surinder Rattan. It just wasn't happening.
Yeah,
I mean, they might have got Pajangi through. Maybe that definitely slipped through. I think my dad remembered it. When I asked my dad, he goes, Pajangi from the 70s, yeah. And I think maybe A.S. Kang, a few of his through his Punjabi songs. But other than that, it was all Bollywood, man. So, like I said, I got into it during midway through the Bhangra hype phase, innit? And but at school, I wasn't even Bhangra. I was dead ashamed to Bhangra, do Bhangra at family events. They try to pick me up. And I used to feel embarrassed. Yeah. But at school, I was a break dancer.
Yeah.
So I was doing windmills and backspins in front of the whole class. Yeah. And they used to people be queuing up at dinner table, and we'd be in the school hall, and we'll go, right, while everyone's queuing up, let's just do a quick session.
Yeah.
So I was into that, heavily into that. So people might laugh, imagining me breakdancing, but that's what I used to do.
Yeah.
I couldn't put my hands up and do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was weird. It was just weird.
Yeah.
So it was madness.
So, no, super interesting, definitely. And it kind of shows, it's weird how geography plays an important part in people's musical influences, you know, especially at a time when the internet wasn't around then, you know. So exactly. the only influence you have is within your home and your friends and people you go to school with and what they listen to, you know. And I think that's probably helped people like yourself and RDB because they were even further up north, right? And
we're in Bradford, it's further north from me, but actually not that far to travel. It's about 40 miles away.
Yeah.
But yeah, more of the north of England in the middle.
Yeah.
And I was DJing at an event there, and they approached me with their CD. And I was dead happy that I found young lads who would make remixes like me, but we're also a bit IT geeky.
Yeah.
I thought, that's me, so I can relate with yous. And it just sparked, we just got on straight away. So, and then when I started going there to their house, I realized the tools they were using to make remixes. And I said, listen, lads, let me bring some software. They were dead buzzing. They're like, what are you going to bring? I said, I'll bring Cubase, man. You need Cubase. Kulli Vajara, God bless his soul, he used to get a sample, to get his calculator out, work out the length of the sample, start doing some calculations so we could pitch it up like that. That's how he used to do it, manually, with a calculator, man. Right? And I used to think, no, just use the time stretch option in Cubase, man. And he's like, what? And then this is how we got on, you know what I mean? This is how we started making music and how our relationship developed more and more.
Yeah.
I even had my own platform, and then you said there was no internet. At that time, around 2000, I had my own platform. It's called bhangra.co.uk, which I still have that website. It was like the ultimate website name. And it was one of the first, actually, or the first here in England. And I had it as more of a fan to just do information for people around the world, because I used to get people from around different military bases and universities say, this is a good job you're doing, let us know what's happening in the UK. I used to go to Friends Electric, back in the day, say, can I have your top 10, put it on my page, stuff like that. And in the end, I said, showed it Cully once. I said, I used to have a website. I still got it. I still have it now. And I said, you could do something with it. And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'll put a page up, guest page up. We'll put our mixes up. So then their platform became bhangra.uk/RDB. And from there, we didn't realise, and they didn't realise, but that basically, because it was on the internet, was going around the world. So next minute, people booking, could you come and do the Vasaki games in Australia? Could you come and do this? Could you come and do that?
Wow.
You know, so it was crazy, and that was just due to the internet.
Yeah, you know, look, Surinder, listening to your stories, we could have like a standalone podcast for certain points in your life, you know. So we could do, we could do like the lick, you know, and that kind of garage sort of time in your life. And then you've got Gary Sandu, you've got RDB, all these, and even then, sort of even your personal life within that's a story as well, right? So there's so much that's happened to you, you know, and probably you're gonna have to come back on at some point. We're gonna have to,
no problem.
we'll have to drill down and maybe talk about the Manchester scene. I'll tell you what I am trying to do. I'm going to use your interview for something quite. I'm going to be honest about it. I'm trying to get the Artful Dodger on my show.
Excellent.
Mark Hill, right? And
yeah, man.
So I've sent him a message. He's followed me back on social media. I don't know what that means, but maybe he's just trying to.
That's good. That's good.
It means something, right? So I'm going to send him your interview because I know you're in the dance and the Manchester scene. He's probably going to interest.
Big up Mark Hill, mate, because he is wicked.
I'm going to try and get him on. And I'm going to use your interview as the sort of debate. Okay. Brilliant. But you know, look, we're coming towards the end, and it's been fantastic. I really enjoyed myself just to know the background of some of the stories, and it's been fantastic. I think people are going to love it because you've been a pivotal part in Bhangra music for such a long time, and them stories, people are going to eat them up, I'm sure. And but for yourself for the future now, again, like you know, you're quietly confident. What kind of things are you brewing in the background?
I'm working with some of these new artists like Jet. Getting some music out, and basically I'm just trying to like broaden my horizons, get some music out, because I've got indie companies now. That was another thing I forgot to mention as well. Sorry, just briefly.
We got time.
In between that time, we released an outfit called Mango Beats with Illmatic, and that was an EDM kind of thing that I put together because I don't know if you've heard of the director Mohit Suri.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
He's the director. He did the film Ashiki. Ashiki 2, Girlfriend and stuff like that. He was in charge of all the music and stuff. He ended up signing us because he became in charge of EMI in India with Universal Music. They bought EMI and he put him in charge, and he liked our music, and he wanted us to drop what I was known for, a dance song, a dance track. So I did another big dance track called Akka. Went #1 in India on the iTunes. In India, as soon as we released it, it just blew up there. And it's still viral there in Mumbai. With the dance choreographers, they use it a lot. That particular song is just like a big house track, you know?
Yeah.
And that was just not long ago, actually. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. We just dropped that. That was like 2016.
So that song was used in the film as well, was it?
Yeah, they've put it in the film. I've done 2 films, incidentally. I've done one with Gippy Girrawal, which they nominated me for Best Director at PTC Awards. That was the film Jack James Bond.
Right.
And another film with Akshay Kumar called Bargene Problem.
See, yeah.
And that did well as well. But why I was happy with it, they didn't say to me, do a song for the Indian market. They said, do your UK song. So when that went #1 in India, that Akka song, what I did, I thought, that's a Manchester sound. That ain't nothing Indian about that. That's me from Manchester, not from Birmingham, going #1 in iTunes in India with my own sound that I created, that dance vibe. So that was like the pinnacle for me, starting from college, doing a dance track to get into a #1 iTunes in India. But it might not be big for people, it was for me. But, you know, getting into that position with a sound that I created when I was at college.
It's amazing. No. See, we haven't even mentioned that part in the interview. I'm glad you brought that up. You know,
sorry.
No, that's amazing. That in itself is a story. A young lad from Manchester who used to break dance in the queue at school now has a song in the Bollywood film Akshay Kumar. You know, I mean that that in itself is a film, a story of a young kid. We see these dramas on BBC sometimes talking about Desi people, with their love lives and this kind. I mean, that would be a fantastic drama. Can you imagine a soundtrack to that drama? A kid making beats in his room and it gets signed and then it becomes. But so that's why I love these stories, and that's why I created this podcast. You see, because it gives people time to talk, and it's
it does. Yeah,
and we don't have to rush, and you can be open. You don't have to worry about swearing or saying maybe the wrong thing, because it's an open platform, right? It's a very different type of platform, and that's the reason I wanted to do it. I wanted to get people like you on with fantastic stories and just give you the time to talk and not interrupt you because the news is about to start, or we have to cut or the break, we've got to put some adverts on or something like that. So look, Surinder, it's been an absolute pleasure, honestly, and I wish you all the best for the future, because when we do catch up with you, because I know you're probably ahead of the curve again, you're probably creating some kind of music that we'll catch up to in a few years' time. I'll be like, Surinder was telling me about this. I should have jumped on board. But look, it's what, once this COVID sort of dies down or it goes completely, I'm not too far from Manchester. I don't know if you realised I'm actually in Leeds.
Are you down the road from me?
I'm down the road, right? So that was a good thing for you, but I'm down the road from you.
Down in Leeds all the time, bro.
Yeah. So next time,
we did an event there with Gary and Mankit just last year.
Right. Yeah. So if you're ever around, drop me a message, mate. We'll meet up, and hopefully we'll have to social distance so we can shake hands and give a Punjabi sort of hug kind of thing. And say, and then please come on again if you've got a new release coming on, or you got a new artist that you want to kind of get them out there a little bit and give them some time to talk. By all means, give me a shout. But Surinder, like I said to you earlier when I dropped you a voice note, it's a real pleasure. I'm a big fan of your music, and I think I'm even a bigger fan of you, the man himself, now, since I've got to know you a bit better. So, but thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, bro.
Before you go, do you have anything to say to the people listening, where they can sort of follow you and your music? Or
I just say thank you everybody for supporting me. I hope it continues. I'll do my best to keep putting out good music, and hopefully you'll keep supporting.
Yeah, as always, understated and quietly confident, Surinder.
Sorry. That's the way it is, man.
Take care.
I go, yo, G, got my new tunes coming out. Make sure you buy. And that's not me, bro. It's not me, man.
No, not your style, man. No, but I prefer your style as it is. You just put your music out and it just blows up. So that's kind of all we want, right?
Respect it. Yeah, they go, it's good music. But
yeah, and it's been working for you all these years. So carry on.
Touch wood.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, my brother. Respect.